Welcome back to Grapple Theory. Thank you so much for joining us once again. And this week we are joined by the, well, not so new anymore because it's been about over a month now. It's the new Eve champion, Session Moth Martina. Moth, welcome back to the podcast. How are you doing?
Hey, what's cracking?
It's great to have you here. I mean, it's been a whirlwind year. We always start by asking, I guess, how sort of like the last 12 months or so has been. And for you, it feels like it's been a bit of a roller coaster, both in and out the ring. So first of all, like, how are you doing in yourself? Are you doing all right?
I'm doing great. I'm doing a lot better. I think Eve has managed to kind of tell the story of everything I've kind of had going on over the last year. But just as art mimics life, everything just started kind of going on the up from December onwards. Everything just started getting a little bit better. Like I won the She Won, and then obviously Wrestle Queendom happened. And yeah, the last couple of months just with wrestling have been back to just being really, really fun again. I found myself with all the chaos going on in my personal life, wrestling was just getting really exciting and fun and became the escape that it was originally meant to be again, which is kind of the point in the long run, isn't it? To kind of get back to why you did it in the first place. I just started having a lot of fun again.
Yeah, that's what's so important, right? It's like wrestling is meant to be fun, right? If you're not enjoying it, like we've had so many people say it, and I think as well, like you guys put your bodies through so much. If you're not enjoying it, why would you be doing it? You know, like you need to be enjoying it for what you're putting your body through.
I mean, at this rate, I'm wrestling nearly 15 years. I don't think I'd still be going on an independent level if I didn't really just enjoy it. You know what I mean? Because it's not like you're rolling in millions. It's not like you're getting hundreds and thousands of views. I just really enjoy when you think about it, it's been a long build over the last couple of years, especially post-COVID. I feel you don't see where some of the years have gone, but from 2020 to now, look at the scene and how much it's changed and how strong and sturdy it is. And we've built that. And I like to think I'm a good part of that too.
You absolutely are. You absolutely are. And I think like that's what almost like your journey to winning the title at Eve showed as well. Like is that whole story of you not thinking you were good enough and having to prove to yourself that you were good enough, having that support around you. I mean, you mentioned it before in terms of like the art mimicking life, because again, for so much of your career, you've been Moth, right? You've been the pie girl. You've been coming out with the beer and dancing and like having a great time. And this felt so different. This felt really raw. This felt really like that you were opening yourself up like beyond Moth. You were opening yourself up like emotionally vulnerably to the crowds there at Eve. Like, was that tough at first? Because that's something that, again, wrestling is generally an escapism into your character, and you don't often open yourself up that personally to the fans. Like, was that difficult at first?
It kind of got to a stage with Eve at this like earlier in last year and with Dann, where I kind of had no choice but to tell everyone what was going on, because it genuinely was getting hard. Like I was going through a lot of stuff and I was still managing to get on flights every weekend and being asked to put on some sort of matches that I just felt were like, with everything else going on, was just too much for me. And it was Dann and Will Ospreay that like were the ones telling me that, no, you can do this. And yeah, this is hard, but this is still at the end of this. Like, I think you'll get here. And I was the one saying, I don't think so. I think this is too much for me. I think this is not where my talents lay. And they saw the vision before I did. They had faith, and it really paid off. And I'm very lucky to have had when I was so low, have people that still managed to bring me out of that and show me how much I love this and how important I am to wrestling. And yeah, to kind of have it all pay off at Queendom was just surreal.
I was going to say that moment was unbelievable. Like in terms of that, we'll get to that in a moment. But like, I want to ask you about Dann and Will and like their influence, because again, Dann is someone who, again, never speaks highly enough of you. Like, well, always speaks highly of you. You know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say? He always speaks so highly of you. And like, again, you've been an Eve regular for so long. Like, you're always on the shows, and he always backs you. And then having Will come in as well and give you that push must have been like feel really validating. You know, to know that these two guys are there backing you, pushing you, wanting you to do more, wanting you, like, believing that you can do more, even if you don't necessarily believe it yourself at first.
100%. Like, I think Dan's obviously like booked me since 2016, 17. I can't even remember at this stage. And that it was when I was doing a very different character. And he's kind of grown with me over the years. He saw everything I've done, because everything I've gone on to do, like go to Japan, wrestling Ring of Honor, do a little bit with AEW, whatever I've done, I've always come back to Eve every month. Do you know what I mean? I've been a regular at Eve pretty much for the last 10 years nonstop. I've missed the odd show here and there, but very, very rarely. And that's kind of the story in itself, is like, it's been 10 years and I never once did I even need to go for the title. Like I was having so much fun, and I've always had my place on Eve, and I think I'll forever kind of have a place on Eve, because I've had so many varied types of matches there, from the Su Yung type of matches to the hilarious Japanese style matches that I've managed to have. You know what I mean? There's been countless variations of my character. Like Eve has just been a place where, and now it's the first place that's using me dead on seriously. You know what I mean? Where I get to actually show the wrestling side of me, and do you know what I mean? Put up the fight and get opponents that people think I can't beat. You know what I mean? Or like, all right, like let's see whoever murder Session Moth this time. Let's see what they can put me through. Is kind of where I'm at now, because like, once you hit the top, once you're at the top, there's only one way to go. You know, I got to fight to stay up here now. So I'm interested to see what new challenges Eve has in store for me in a position that I've never done before.
Yeah. What was that initial conversation like when this storyline started with Will and Dann? What was that conversation like of like, hey, this is what we want to do? Like, so I know you mentioned that you thought it was like you weren't necessarily ready for it, or that you maybe couldn't pull it off. But like, how long was the build essentially? Like when did they come to you and be like, this is what we want?
So last year I was meant to wrestle Miyu. Early last year, at one point, I was meant to wrestle Miyu, and I was on my way to the airport. And this was very soon after my dad had passed. My mom was very sick in hospital. It was just touch and go for a long time. And trying to, you know, have a match against Miyu Yamashita is a lot to ask of someone when they're just going through stuff. And I remember I was really sick that weekend too. And I remember having a bit of a panic attack on the way to the airport. And I rang Dann. And I was like, this is going to do me more damage than good if I go and do this today. I was like, I'm not going to come out of this feeling good. I'm not going to come out of this feeling proud of myself. I really just don't think I can do it. And that's where it came from, because Dann was like, I think you can do it. But obviously he completely understood. And he was like, take the time for yourself. You need to get here, but you need to know that you can do it. And he obviously relayed to Will what was going on. And the two of them essentially kind of, we went from there. He like as well. Another thing that happened in August last year is my passport and all my purse and everything was robbed from like the start of an AEW weekend. I was at rock bottom already, and I didn't think it had a basement. And if it wasn't for Dann and Will and everyone that whole AEW weekend that just took great care of me, like I thought that was it. I was done. And then yet again, they came to my rescue and they helped me see that, no, you can get through this weekend, you can do this. And we had an incredible weekend with incredible shows. And it's all just kind of built to where we've gotten with Wrestle Queendom, and God knows where we go from here, you know?
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about Queendom then. Let's talk about that match with Rhio, because again, before we get to the ending, let's talk about the match, because the match was brutal. Like that felt like, and I was saying to a couple of other like Eve guys, we did like a little preview show for Queendom, and I was saying to them like, it felt like that's the match you needed to have, even before like we'd seen it. It felt like that's the match it needed to be, rather than maybe just like a straight generic like general singles match or something like that. It felt like it needed to be violent, because it felt like you really thrive in that. I feel like Moth is at her best when the matches are really like brutal and like you can really go hell for leather and all guns blazing with it.
Well, I've never once ever in my entire career claimed to be the best technical wrestler. I've never claimed to be the slickest. I've never claimed to, you know what I mean? Like, my whole thing is that I'm just still here. I'm surviving. I'm hanging with the best. Do you know what I mean? And like, I never went into Queendom being like, oh, okay, suddenly I'm Kenny Omega. Do you know what I mean? And I'm going to bust out all this, like, you know what I mean? I wrestled the way I wrestle, and I can wrestle, and I tell a story a different way. I wrestle to my strengths, and I wrestle depending on what's needed of me. You know what I mean? I wasn't suddenly just going to change everything that I've built over the last 10 years just because I have a main event spot. Do you know what I mean? And the show is so varied in itself. We had like incredible Japanese wrestlers, incredible American signed talent. We had people from all over the world. Like, every move was getting hit. Do you know what I mean? Like, I only had one thing going into that match, and that was the story, and that's what we wanted to tell. You know what I mean?
And it was great, and the story was told brilliantly. I mean, like, again, talk to me about the end, because the ending was emotional. Obviously, even watching from ringside, the ending was incredible. Like, aside from the win itself, which we'll get into, but talk to me about what it meant. Again, that moment, you're getting beaten down in the ring, and then all the music hits, and Charlie's there, and Jetta's there, and Alex is there, and Millie's there. Like, talk to me about that moment and like what that meant, because I know all those people mean so much to you, and to have them there in that moment, be part of it. And Casey as well. I popped so hard when Casey came out. Oh my God, that was my biggest pop of the night when Casey came out. I was so glad she was there for that. But
for me, it was really important that Wrestle Queendom was about all the girls that have built Eve. Like, if you had told us girls in the Resgal years ago that eventually, you know, this little thing, I met all the girls through Eve, essentially. You know, Eve is where for 10 years, month to month, you're meeting these people. We've built such real friendships over the years. So to see us on the biggest stage we potentially could ever have again, do you know what I mean? And for it being the first one, and for me being one of the oldest girls there and one of the few originals left, and to finally, after years and years, to be in such a big spot with someone like Will Ospreay backing you to that degree, I wanted to have the people that had helped me get there. Do you know what I mean? Like, Casey has been there. She's my very first match from Ireland. Do you know what I mean? And she's a huge part of the old days of Eve. Jetta, Charlie Morgan, Jamie Hayter, all these girls that, you know, so many of them would have been there if they weren't signed already, because that's where all the girls have been. It's been at Eve, and Eve is a bit of a proving ground, and it's a launch pad for all these places, you know what I mean? And so for me, that having that moment just felt like it was the right thing to do. It was right. You know what I mean? It was all encompassing. It was, if a story calls for it, just fucking pull the trigger and do it. You know what I mean? To me, it was special. Yeah. And I just think if you're ever going to do it like that, have it mean something. And that one just fits so perfectly, especially with Millie, because Millie's such a big part of the story, and her actual story is so real, and it's so genuine, and it just wouldn't have been Queendom without someone like Millie McKenzie there. You know what I mean? She deserves to have that O2 moment more than anyone, just as much as the rest of us. You know what I mean? So that's why it'll never, it's the most special weekend to all the girls. We all keep saying, we just wish we could relive it.
It was. And like you say with Millie, again, that's when I think the whole storyline I had going with it, that's when it really got real. That's when the emotion hit. That was that promo when you came out and she came out afterwards, that was almost a little tough to watch from the emotional side. You know what I mean? I can't imagine what it must have been.
But again, it was real life. It was, these real life things were happening, and it's one of these things where sometimes you have to lift the curtain a little bit, so people know that you're not at your best. You know that you're going through stuff, and you might not be, you know what I mean? You know, it might just keep people at bay a little bit and give them a little bit. They might be a little bit more gracious towards you. Like, oh, fair play for coming and putting in a shift. I know you're going through a hard time. Or do you know what I mean? Like with Millie, it's something so serious. It's something so huge in her life that she made public and wanted to put in the storyline. And I think it worked. You know, it was a nice way to give her flowers as well, as much as we could, you know.
For sure. So talk to me about the win then. You get the 3 count and you're in the ring, and you can see the emotion all over your face through the blood. You can see the emotion on your face, and I imagine it wasn't just about the storyline in that moment for you. I imagine it was about what you've been through the last 12
It was the build up. Yeah. Yeah. It's like, I think you're in panic mode so much on them show days and stuff like that. But then it like, for me, it was about really, really taking it in, because the entire build up to Wrestle Queendom, I knew that this was potentially like the biggest thing that will probably ever do again in wrestling. Like, this is, I don't know if I'm ever going to reach as big a heights as this again. I don't know if I'll ever main event as big of a show, or if I'll ever be this important in wrestling again. Like, so I really just wanted to take every second in. Like, all my friends were backstage. I had friends from Ireland come over. You know what I mean? It was one of these things when you battle for years about, should I stay? Should I go? Should I call it a day? Like, have I done enough? Like, have I overstayed my welcome? Like, every wrestler battles with these thoughts. Like, is it worth it? Like, what's the point of what am I doing this for? Them moments are what you're doing it for. Like, the friendships, the build-up, like these little moments of ecstasy is what you do it for. You know what I mean? And so for me, it was really important to like just take it in while I have it. You know what I mean? Because you never know when it could all be. It could be over tomorrow. I don't know if this will be my last year after this. You know, I've done so much in wrestling. You know what I mean? And what a way to kind of start capping it out. You know what I mean? Like, who knows? You know what I mean? But that's the thing. We're in an exciting time right now where it could go anyway.
Yeah, for sure. I want to ask you again, because I think it fits in nicely into what we're talking about. I remember genuinely one of sort of like the moments since starting this podcast that hit me the hardest was when we had you on the first time, and you said that you felt like after everything that happened with Ring of Honor and then COVID, that maybe like your lot was to just be an indie wrestler, and like that was what you were going to do, and you might not ever reach those heights again. And I felt like really hard hit by that, because I feel like, again, like I feel like maybe like what Dann and Will were telling you is like, I feel like you undersell yourself so much, and you've done so much for the scene, and you've really been a constant and worked so hard, and you can see that. And it feels like this journey that you've been on, like I guess like what I'm saying is like I hope you see now that you're worth more than maybe you thought you were. Like, has that helped you see that? Because
I think everything I've done over the last couple of years has kind of helped me. Again, when I say I'm having fun with it again, it's like I don't think I take it as deadly seriously as I used to. You know what I mean? When you're constantly trying to wonder, like, oh, am I going to get a job? Will I get signed? Won't I get signed? That gets exhausting, and it takes the fun out of wrestling a lot. And I think somewhere along the way, I accepted, like, okay, the Ring of Honor thing didn't happen. It's almost like a passing dream at this point. It feels like a fever dream, like it didn't even happen. You know what I mean? Because so much other things have happened since then. And I've just carried on with it. And I've managed to create some really cool things with what I'm doing, with what I have around me. You know what I mean? Like, I essentially wrestle in the same places every week, but I have such regular bookings with them that, like, I'm able to create really fun storylines. You know what I mean? Like the storyline with Eve, everything I do at Riot, everything I do at Progress, I'm at TNT regularly. You know what I mean? I actually have enough to keep me going, and I'm pretty happy with what I'm doing, and people don't seem bored yet, so I'm pretty happy with it.
Talk to me about Eve generally, like, because again, it feels like they've been on such a high the last sort of, again, 12, 18 months, like building these stories, getting bigger and bigger crowds in the big penny. Obviously, Will's impact has helped being able to bring in these AEW names, giving all the girls like chances to face these huge stars. Like, it feels like it's just been such a buzz for the last, like, again, like year and a half. Has it felt that way, like in the locker room? Has it felt like, oh, something, like, I know obviously it led to Queendom, but like, did it feel like, oh, something's building here? Like, something's changing? Because I know for a little while, Eve was on a bit of a downslope. Again, like when they're running the Dome, place like that, the crowds weren't as big, things like that. It felt a bit like off, and now it just feels so big.
I feel like because for years with Eve, we were so comfortable with the Red Skull. There was no, like, we were so happy with the Red Skull. So it was like, anytime we moved out of the Red Skull, it was always an increase, but we were always at the Red Skull. So numbers didn't really matter as much before to Eve and stuff like that. And then post-COVID, moving out of these I think everywhere suffered during that period where there was no like nowhere had a home, you know what I mean? Like I think any promotion suffers from not having like a home base promotion place to go, you know what I mean, to where to build that fan base. So I think when Eve got Big Penny Social is when we all started feeling the excitement, because that venue was just so perfect, because it had like so many activities going on in the venue in itself that had casual people going, what's going on in there, coming in and then coming every month. So we've built this whole new fan base just based on the Big Penny alone. Do you know what I mean? So it's you have Eve's regular fan base. Now you've also got casual people that are bringing their friends and becoming regulars. And then you've also got people now, because people are talking about Eve thanks to Will, and the word, like Will came to these shows, see the Big Penny. He's obviously seen all the girls for years and years and years. He's seen the talent. He knows what's there. Seeing the Big Penny and how it has room to grow, and like the atmosphere, and just you could not walk away from it and not love it. So I think Will's seen the opportunity for production and like a great way to highlight amazingly talented girls. So it's kind of the case. Eve has always been the place to be for women, but now it's even more so. You know what I mean? Like, and having Will there as like a scout, as someone that helps, as someone that believes in you and just guides, it's incredible. Like he doesn't need to look back and look at like indie promotions in the UK where what he's doing at the moment, but he still does. Do you know what I mean? He's so busy doing his own thing and taking care of a family, but he still has time to and want to give a platform to all these girls that are working their asses off. Like it's incredible. It's very selfless as well. And we really, really appreciate everything he's put into Eve over the last year.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. What about you? Because we'll talk about progress and Rhio as well, but what about you again, like finally as the champ at the minute in Eve? Again, I know you said you're not sure when you'll end your career. And I'm sure no one should be champ forever anywhere necessarily. But when
Definitely.
Except for obviously you're going to be taking that belt into the sunset. That's fine. But when you look at the future of Eve, when you look at like the next people, the ones that are going to be the next stars, the next ones like in 2-3 years at the top, running the show, who do you look at and you're like, it's going to be them?
It's always about the next girls. It's always about the newbies, isn't it? No one cares about the good old reliable on the shelf that hasn't broken 10 years. You know what I mean? It's not the shiniest thing on the shelf, but it still works. You know what I mean? That's me. But we'll talk about the new shiny toys for a while. It's quite obvious, isn't it? Like Sapphire Reed, Anita Vaughan, like all these incredible girls. Lucy Sky is incredible. I think she's going to be a massive threat. I've only gotten a taste of her at the last Eve show, and I think she is going to be a massive threat. Alexis Falcon is taking over BritWres at the moment. Do you know what I mean? And I don't think I'm not very aware of that. And I haven't been watching from the sidelines, holding my Eve belt, going to sleep at night, being like, you're not taking this away from me. This is my moment.
You've got to make sure. You're the one that's got to make sure. She's got everything else. She's got all the other belts in the minute. You're the one that's got to make sure she stays in check. Exactly.
So I'm trying to just keep all these new ones at bay. You know what I mean? But and there's bound to be more coming through as the year. Look at Abby. Look at the reception that Abby's getting at the moment. You know what I mean? Like, God help us all. She's going to be insufferable, but I think she's going to manage to get a job after all. She'll probably get a better job than the rest of us at this stage. You know what I mean? I've been begging for a job for 15 years and not happening. So
that's the thing. I think those are all great. And you mentioned as well there that, being the old reliable on the show. And that, like, honestly, like, I feel like you have been reliable. Like, I feel like watching you, like, you are the one that I feel like gets really underrated at times, and like has been like, because you've been there, you've put in the hard work for all these years, and like you've been through it all. You've like been everywhere for this long, and like that's testament to you and your career and what you've done and how good you are, that people know that you're going to be that reliable and they keep bringing you in and that you keep doing the job.
That's probably one of my like proudest things in wrestling, like to still be going this long, like to still be wrestling this long, and to be a regular in the UK as much as I am, as a fly-in, as regular as I am for all these companies that they just haven't, how have they not gotten bored yet? You know what I mean? But that's the thing, like I haven't gotten bored yet either. So I think that's why, because I think everywhere I go, like it always depends what I'm asked to do, but I always try and bring something a little bit unique. Like I'm not just going in every week trying to have the same match every week and just doing the same thing every week, because it will get boring. You know what I mean? I think I've made it clear I was bored of that like 10 years ago. But you know what I mean? Like everywhere I'm wrestling, I get to do creative things, whether it be creative wrestling or creative character stuff, or do you know what I mean? I'm kind of like I'm trying to vary out and keep it as fun for myself while I'm still doing it. But it benefits because exactly that, like the fact that I'm a regular at Progress for the last 3 years or something like that isn't like old me wouldn't believe me if I said that. COVID me wouldn't believe me if I said that, because I'd only been on Progress a handful of times at that point. But at this stage, I'm everywhere regularly, and I really appreciate the fact that they still have need for me. Somebody needs to drink the cans, so.
Exactly. I love that. Well, we're going to talk about Progress. We're going to talk about Rhio a bit, but we're going to get into a little fun feature here we called Dishing the Dirt. I'm going to have you dish some dirt on your fellow indie wrestlers. It's not too bad, all right? It's not terrible. But from wherever you wrestle, Eve, Progress, Riot, TNT, OTT, like anywhere you wrestle, like it's like I'm going to give you some categories, and you let me know which wrestler springs to mind for it.
Okay.
The first one, I'll be honest, the first one's a regular one on the list, but I feel like you could say yourself for a few things, especially leading into Progress, is who's always running late.
Huh?
Who's always running late?
Koga.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Is he?
I don't know. I wouldn't understand even if he tried to explain why he was late. You know what I mean? We have a communication issue, if you haven't noticed.
Amazing. The next one is, I always equate it to like travel and stuff, because it's who's got the worst music taste.
Emerson Jane.
Yeah.
Not a fan of the Texas country she had us listening to this weekend. So, and she won't like it. Brilliant dancer, terrible music taste.
I can't abide by the country. Country's not my thing. It's not. No. The next one is well, we're talking out the ring. Who's got the worst dress sense?
Oh my God, like so many people are coming to mind.
That's probably a bad thing if there's that many people in your head about it.
See, I don't know if it's bad because I kind of rate it, but I'm going to say Alexis Falcon because she wears Crocs.
The Crocs are divisive. The Crocs are very Marmite. Yeah.
I kind of rate it though, but it's as well. I just can't. I can't.
The next one's my favorite on the list. It's who would you, under no circumstances, again, this is interesting now, especially being part of the Moth Dog family as well. I wonder if this will play into it. But who would you, under no circumstances, let a family member date?
Tate Mayfairs. Case in point, watch Rhio Cabaret on demand.
There's a lot of history there. Yeah, I can understand why you wouldn't want that. That'd be a bit
awkward, you know what I mean? We've a lot going on. We're not even fully divorced yet, so
pending. Is it nearly there? Are we nearly over the line, or
you'll see?
Yeah, we're going to get into that. We're going to get into that once this feature's over. We're going to be talking all about that. But the next one is now we get into some of the nicer stuff. This isn't really dirt anymore, but it's on the other end of clothing. Moth, you've obviously got your signature style, right? Your style's great. Your ring gear's great. But let's say you get to a show and you've forgotten your gear and you've got to rush to the back and borrow someone's gear. But we're talking one size fits all. You can pick whoever you want. Whose gear do you look at? And you're like, I could definitely pull that off.
Gene Money. Nipple tassels and all.
The tassels and everything.
Yeah.
You reckon you could do the splat in the ring that he does? Like when he's in? Yeah?
Yeah, it would hurt, but yeah.
Amazing. I love that. Maybe we should do a crossover there. Maybe you and Gene should change gear for a match.
No.
Amazing. The next one is who, well, I'll be honest, I'm interested to see if you say yourself, because you are the answer that we get most of all for this question.
Okay.
Who would throw the best party?
Trent Seven.
Not you.
No. Well, obviously me, but after me, Trent Seven.
Yeah.
You'd make everyone famous.
Fantastic. Well, that leads on to the final one, which is, in my mind, the most important one of all. Who would you choose to be your partner in the zombie apocalypse?
Nina Samuels. Very organized.
Yeah.
Very organized, badass. Say she'd be a bit of a drill sergeant. I'd say, yeah, Nina Samuels.
Go to war with her. Perfect.
Yeah.
Love that. Love that. And she's got the bacon as well, right? You'd be fed for days.
Yeah. And she'd probably throw Abby in front of you as well, so it'd be fine.
Feed Abby's to the wolves, and you guys just
yeah.
Oh, cruel, but I respect it. Well, let's talk about progress. Let's talk about Riot Cabaret. You brought it up there. Obviously, there's been a lot going on. At the time we're recording, at the time this goes out, this is going to go out a few days before Riot's next show, and you're going to be questioned by Detective Gene Money. Like
who? No, it's Detective P.I. Money.
Sorry, Detective P.I. Money. Sorry, yes, of course.
He's not related to my brother.
No, they're different. They're different.
There's
people.
No relation. He's like, they just happen to look very alike, but there's no relation to Gene Money.
Does that throw you off a bit though? The fact they look so alike. Does that throw you off a bit?
My family is very large, so no.
Well, talk to me about that then. Talk to me about Detective P.I. Money. Like, obviously, you're gonna be questioned. Are you nervous? Like, how are you feeling ahead of that?
I've got nothing to hide.
No?
I've got nothing to hide. In fact, I'm looking forward to getting it all aired out, all this mystery, clearing my name, telling Tate to get my name out of his mouth so he can carry on with his life, sign the divorce papers, sign everything over to me, and leave it at that, because the boy is stalking me at this point.
That's not great. That's not good to hear. Come on, Tate. You're better than that. I mean, like, what about, like, talk to me about this whole deal, because I think this must have been tough. Again, like, it felt like this was the love story. It felt like it was the perfect love story, and then it all fell apart so quickly. Like, that must hurt.
It should. But I got all the money in the divorce, and I went on a great honeymoon. So
I was going to say,
yeah, you got Tate, I suppose.
You got the better end of the bargain, right? You got the honeymoon and the money, and he got shot.
And the champion.
Yeah.
I got Crowley, so and he got shot.
Yeah, not great. I mean, as well, talk to me about the current champion, because you had a hand in that. That was your doing. You helped facilitate all we've got here now at Riot Cabaret with Crowley as the champ, because you unselfishly gave up your wish, your chance at anything you wanted to bring Crowley back, to get him the title, to help him get the title over Spike. That was a cool moment. Talk to me about that, like, because that was. Like, the crowd went wild for that. That must have been a really fun moment to be part of.
Well, exactly that. What else? What's the point of killing your ex-husband and getting away with millions and off on a yacht if you don't have your tag team partner to share it with? And he was feeling all down about himself and feeling like he couldn't do it and yada yada yada. So I had to give him a little bit of a pep speech. Few bottles of champagne, managed to get him to show up, told him it was a Christmas party, ended up being the match. But, you know, it ended well. And now he's going to take care of Tate Poo for me this weekend. My name will be cleared, free to go off in the sunset, spend all of Tate's money, and hopefully he's never to be seen again.
Well, hopefully so. I don't want to put you in it here, because I don't know if you picked up on this, and I don't know if Detective P.I. Money will be watching, but you just said there, what's the good in killing your husband? So,
someone else killing your husband.
Sure.
Someone else. See, that's the thing. I wouldn't benefit. Someone's just trying to make me look bad. Somebody was jealous of me in the draft, and they're just trying to make me look bad.
Of course. Well, we'll move swiftly on from that.
I ain't, but my lawyer tell me not to say any more on the subject, and if you want to know more, you have to show up to Riot Cabaret at the end of the month. And
I'm sure we will. Well, let's talk about not Detective P.I. Money's brother, because they only look similar. They're not related. Gene Money, part of the Moth Dog family. Like, the Moth Dog family, again, like, you've had a crazy year, like, in the ring. Like, you've been through a lot. Like, Eve, Rhio, all these marriage, and then the Moth Dog family, that's been through troubles as well. Like, how do you keep up with it all? There's so much drama.
I know. Tell me about it. Keeping up with that family, it gives me a headache. But last I could tell, do you know what it is? Ever since Koga came into the mix is when things started like to fall apart, in my opinion. That's when Gene started, looking for claps and looking for admiration. And, he kind of lost sight of, he started winning and getting like really good at wrestling, and he kind of just lost sight of the whole point of the family. You know what I mean? But like, it's fine. Koga's starting to get on side now. Koga's starting to see that mommy knows best. You know what I mean? He wouldn't dare speak back to me now, that Koga. He's being good now. We'll see how they behave. You see, now I'm trying to keep everyone happy, everyone in the family. So that's the thing. No matter what happens with Gene, the Atlas, even if he loses it, it's going to stay in the family. He just needs to learn his lesson that he needs to do things my way. And if I have to force my hand, so be it.
And sometimes you've got to do that, right? Sometimes, like, I think we're all tired, right, of seeing the man be the leader in the relationship, right? Like,
right.
Men don't really deserve that anymore, right?
Right, like really, I'm on the backbones of the whole family. I mean, I've bared half of the population at this point, you know what I mean? So, and if it wasn't for me, we wouldn't have all these connections in the first place, and we wouldn't be so well off, you know what I mean? Having cousins and nephews and aunties and uncles and everyone to, like, Gene's not complaining at Christmas when he gets Christmas cards with a $5 in them. That's all I'm saying, but now when it comes to the Atlas Championship, he starts moaning. But enough of that, whatever. We're getting on pretty well. I'm a Cyprus Women's Champion at the moment. Gene is the Atlas Champion. Koga's being behaved for now. So all is well.
Nice. I love that. Do you have like...
But none of us are in Vegas either, so maybe it's not that good.
I was going to say, obviously, we're recording this before, well, as Mania Week's happening. So, but that's not... Sometimes you need like a little break with the family, right? You don't need to always be out like busy and stuff. Sometimes you can have just like family dinner at home, you three, just chilling around the table.
That sounds terrible compared to Vegas. I think what the family needed right now more than anything was a family vacay to Vegas where we could have cashed in our belts, made 10 million times more, come back with 5 belts, one for each kid. It'd have been fine, but no. We have to go to family therapy.
It's outrageous. It's outrageous. It's like, isn't it annoying when life just gets in the way like that?
Horrible. Terrible.
Awful. Well, I mean, that's very, again, like you talk about like being, again, booked more in progress and having that more in progress. You picked up on it earlier. And like, again, I think that's something that is really cool. Again, like with these opportunities you've been getting, again, like you say out in Cyprus as well, like it feels like, again, you talk about like, your career and potentially winding down and like everything you've already done, but like, it's proof that you still have more to offer, right? It's proof that you can still go out there and do new things and do these things that you haven't experienced before. And like, that must be quite nice, especially having been in the business so long.
But yeah, exactly that. Like, I'm always trying to think of like, as much as they say like, oh, I might wind it down now, it's like, it's all just kind of worry that I've overstayed my welcome, or you know what I mean? Or me trying to come to terms with the fact when I eventually stop getting booked, you know what I mean? But like, exactly that. As for right now, like, I just keep trying to think of like exactly that with the Moth Dog family, thinking of different swerves with the Eve storyline. And we're going to, obviously, I want to make the most. It's the biggest belt I've ever held. I want to make the most out of this run that I possibly can and progress. We're just having so much fun with the family and all the different aspects. And Rhio is just cabaret in itself. You know what I mean? God knows what can happen there. And then I'm having fun genuinely wrestling at the moment. Like, I'm really enjoying my matches. I feel like with all the confidence of everyone behind me, I've stepped up a gear or two the last while, and I'm feeling it,
Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing as well. Like, again, something that like I talk to a lot of people about is I feel like there are a few wrestlers out there who do this, but I feel like you're one of them in terms of testament to how important a good entrance is, because that music hits and that crowd goes mad for you. Like,
yeah, it's amazing. I love it every time.
You have been so consistently over for so long. And that must be, again, like really nice, really rewarding, really like, oh, people do still care, because yeah, like that music hits and the crowd loves it. Like,
I think that was one of the things that like Will noticed the most. I remember him saying like when he kind of came and saw Eve for the first time in a while, he was like, he couldn't believe. He was like, Moth is the most over. Still, like she's still the most over. Where like he knows me from years ago back in OTT where I was the most over then for a while. You know what I mean? And I think it was him just being like, "Oh, she's so consistently over. We have to do something with this." And again, it's the fresh crowd that haven't seen wrestling before that have taken to the session mod, and that's what I love about it. It was bringing that like that party element back of someone that doesn't necessarily want to sit on their hands and watch the professional wrestling. You know what I mean? They're just happy to be there. They want the live experience. They want the interaction, and that's where I excel as a wrestler rather than. As I've always said, I'm more of a crowd performer than a TV performer.
Sure, absolutely. Well, that leads us nicely into our final feature, Moth. So we're gonna again, it's sort of like quick fire-ish, but we'll go into like a little bit of detail for each thing. But it's essentially you're gonna build your dream indie wrestler. So no one signed. We've said there are a few signs you can have. You can have like the Brit Rest guys who have sort of just gone away, like Leon, like Rain, like Holly, people like that you can have. But we're not talking about the big names. So again, I'm going to give you the categories, like like on 2K, like you got your categories. I'm going to give you the categories, and you let me know who you want for each one. You can pick each wrestler only once. You can pick yourself though.
I can't.
You can.
Okay, I won't.
So, the first one is strength.
Omari.
That's a great shout. Omari's so underrated.
Omari is the most underrated wrestler in the UK. He's phenomenal. He should be everywhere.
Yeah.
But he's also the freakishly strongest person I've ever met in my life.
Yeah, he is. He really is. That's a great shout. The next one is speed.
Ooh, Callum Newman.
Yes. Oh, Callum. Callum Newman, what a tear he's on as well.
Yeah, right?
Insane.
Incredible. Yeah, him for speed. No one else I pick.
That's a great shout. Where's the kid that was in CPF like 3 years ago?
I know. He's fucking champ over in New Japan now, brother.
How was that happening? Where has that time gone? That's mad. The next one is charisma.
Me.
Yeah. Love that. I thought you might save yourself. We've got entrance coming up, and I thought you might save yourself for that, but now you have to pick someone else for that because that's a good shout. Yeah. The next one is technical ability.
The boring one. Kanji.
Yeah, it's got to be, right?
Unreal.
Phenomenal. One of the best in the world. The next one is what is the next one? It's gone. It flashed up on my monitor there and then back down to my phone. That was weird. The next one is a high flying ability.
Leon Cage.
Yeah, Leon's great. I don't like
any Leon. Essentially, I could Leon Slater or Leon Cage. I don't care.
you name your child Leon, they're destined for greatness in Brit Wrestling.
They're going to be a fantastic wrestler. Yeah.
Men again, so young, so like disgustingly young. It's outrageous.
All right, stop saying how young they are. I get it.
I'm in the same boat. I get it. I understand. It hurts me as well.
Yeah.
As a fan watching, you like they come out and you're like, oh, they're close to my age. And you're like, no, they're not close to my age at all. Like, oh, how did that happen?
Oh, stop. Anyway, keep going.
The next one is promo ability.
Oh, who's it? Brilliant promo. Oh, there's
a few.
Crowley's a very good promo.
Crowley is a good promo. That's yeah. I like it. The next one is entrance.
Derice.
Yes. Oh, can you do it?
Show my spot as next best entrance in wrestling.
And
he only did it because he was like, "Oh, Karen has a good entrance. I'm going to do that."
And he does it well. Couldn't you? I think
he does it great.
Entrance switch would be fun. I'd like to see you do that. I know Millie did the Derice entrance.
Yeah.
And that'd be fun. The next one is ring gear.
Ooh. Can I pick myself for that one again? Because the new ring gear? No, I already picked me. I don't know. Anyone on Eve from the latest gear? I don't know. I don't know. Gene Money, because I get to wear a tracksuit. I picked him for something, did I?
No, you didn't pick him yet. No,
all right, pick Gene. I picked Gene.
I like it. And then the final one is finisher. Finisher.
Ooh.
There's a lot of good finishers out there.
Yeah. It would have to be something with like a corkscrew moonsault or something, right?
So you haven't said Leon Slater. You got to go Leon Slater then, right?
Leon Slater.
Absolutely mental.
Yeah. Just something that I couldn't do. Anything like that.
Love it. Well, that brings an end to nearly an end to the chat, Moth. It's been a pleasure having you here. But before I let you go, I've got to ask again, like, and we don't know what the future holds, but like in terms of looking ahead to the rest of this year, it feels like from this chat we've had, it feels like your MO is just have as much fun as possible.
Yeah, essentially. I'd love to wrestle just as much as possible, go as many places, and just keep feeling the excitement for as long as I can.
Love that. I love that. Well, my final question is not actually a question that I've thought of, because we have a closing tradition here on the podcast where our last guest leaves a question for our next guest with no context of who left it. You're not allowed to know who left it. This person didn't know they were leaving it for you. It's all very up in the air. And the question you've been left is, do you have any pre-match rituals or superstitions?
I say a Hail Mary before every match.
Yeah.
Hail Mary and Our Father. Yeah, and I bless myself right before I go through the curtain every time.
I love that. Well, I'll get your question for our next guest when we've stopped recording. But again, that brings an end to the podcast. Session Moth Martina, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. It's getting dark now as well, so good timing.
I love the candlelight. I like it. It. I appreciate you being here. I hope you've enjoyed it. And
thank you so much.
Congratulations on everything you've had going on. Like, honestly, you deserve it all. Like, you've been smashing it.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We always end our podcast without giving our guests the final word. So for anyone watching who goes to Progress, who goes to Eve, who goes to TNT or Riot Cabaret, and they come to a show and they see Session Moth Martina, why is Session Moth going to steal the show?
Because I drink beer and people like that and I have a good entrance.